Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question. When I speak about the power of a positive attitude, I'm not talking about a simple feel-good mindset or some shallow notion of thinking happy thoughts. No, I'm talking about something much deeper. A fundamental shift in how you see the world, and more importantly, how you see yourself. This shift, once embraced, can have a profound impact on every area of your life. Think about it. Every single day, you wake up with a mind that is flooded with thoughts. Some of those thoughts are empowering, some are neutral, and yes, some are negative. But here's the thing. You have the power to control which thoughts you feed and which you let go of. Your attitude, your mindset, is the lens through which you see the world around you. If your lens is clouded with negativity, fear, and doubt, that's exactly how you'll perceive everything. Through a filter of limitation. I know this from personal experience. There was a time when I was stuck in a cycle of negativity. I would wake up thinking about all the things that weren't going right in my life, my struggles, my failures, the relationships that weren't working. And guess what? My day would unfold exactly as I expected it to. I would meet each challenge with frustration, defeat, and even resentment. But when I started to change my attitude, when I began to actively choose a positive perspective every single day, everything shifted. It wasn't an overnight transformation, but slowly I began to see the world through a different lens. Instead of viewing obstacles as insurmountable walls, I started seeing them as stepping stones. Instead of focusing on what I didn't have, I chose to see opportunities in every challenge, lessons in every mistake, and progress in every step forward. This is why your attitude is everything. It's the root of everything that happens in your life. When you choose a positive attitude, you choose to approach life with an open mind and a willing heart. You open yourself up to possibilities that you couldn't even see before. You begin to see potential where others see problems. And here's the magic. The world starts to change in front of your eyes. It doesn't change because of some external force. It changes because you've chosen to see it differently. You've chosen to act differently. The key to all of this is understanding that attitude isn't just something you have or don't have. It's something you cultivate. It's a skill, a practice, and a commitment. Your attitude is something you can nurture and develop just like any other muscle. It's not about pretending that everything is perfect. It's about choosing to focus on the good, even in difficult situations. I've seen firsthand how people's lives have been transformed by a simple shift in attitude. I've seen individuals turn their entire careers around just by changing how they respond to challenges. People who were once discouraged by setbacks now see them as opportunities to grow. People who once felt hopeless are now taking decisive steps toward the life they've always wanted, simply because they changed the way they think. A positive attitude doesn't guarantee that life will be easy, but it does guarantee that you will be able to navigate life's storms with strength, clarity, and purpose. That's the power of a positive attitude. It's not just about thinking good thoughts for the sake of it. It's about aligning your mindset with your goals and your vision. When you do that, something incredible happens. You begin to attract the resources, people, and opportunities you need to create the life you desire. Now, let me tell you something that changed my life forever. You cannot control everything that happens to you, but you can control how you respond to what happens to you. The moments of struggle, pain, and failure are inevitable, but the real power lies in how you choose to view those moments. What most people fail to realize is that every challenge, no matter how big or small, is an opportunity in disguise. Think about it. Every successful person you admire didn't reach the heights they did by avoiding adversity. No, they reached their success because they learned to embrace their challenges and see them as stepping stones rather than obstacles. I remember when I was first starting out in business, I was hit with challenge after challenge. It felt like every time I took one step forward, I was knocked back 2 steps. At one point, I was ready to give up. I thought maybe I wasn't cut out for this journey. But something inside of me said, You've come too far to quit now. You have to turn this setback into a comeback. It was in that moment that I decided to shift my perspective. Instead of focusing on the difficulty of the situation, I began to focus on the lesson it held for me. What was it teaching me? What could I learn from this? And that mindset shift was everything. I realized that every challenge I faced was a chance to learn something new about myself and about the world around me. Every difficulty was an opportunity to refine my skills, sharpen my resilience, and grow stronger. I stopped seeing adversity as a roadblock and started seeing it as an invitation to become better. Now, don't get me wrong. This isn't about pretending that the hard times don't hurt. It's not about ignoring the pain or glossing over the struggles. No, what I'm talking about is choosing to see beyond the difficulty. It's about training your mind to look for the growth opportunities within every situation. When things go wrong, instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? The moment you begin asking the right questions, you unlock the power of growth within any challenge. And there was a time when I failed in business so many times that I almost didn't recognize the lessons in those failures. But when I changed my perspective and started viewing failure as feedback, as a chance to course correct, adjust, and grow, everything began to change. Those failures weren't final. They were just temporary detours on the road to success. They were my teachers, and I became a better person because of them. And here's the thing, it's not just about overcoming challenges. It's about using them as fuel for your growth. If you view adversity as something to fear or avoid, you will miss out on the greatest opportunities of your life. But if you decide to face challenges head on, with a mindset that says this is happening for me, not to me, you'll find that the difficult times become the very catalysts for your personal transformation. I've seen countless individuals, including myself, who took a major setback and turned it into an opportunity for greatness. The person who loses a job doesn't have to lose hope. That job loss might be the wake-up call they need to pursue their passion or start a business they've always dreamed of. The person going through a difficult relationship doesn't have to wallow in despair. They can use that hardship as an opportunity to learn about themselves, grow stronger, and develop the relationships they truly deserve. Let me tell you something important. Challenges are the doorway to personal growth, but only if you choose to walk through them with the right mindset. Without challenges, there's no progress. Without obstacles, there's no strength. So instead of wishing for an easier life, wish for the strength and wisdom to overcome the challenges that come your way. As I look back on my own journey, I realized that the most defining moments in my life came not during the good times, but during the tough times. Those were the moments that shaped my character, my resilience, and my ability to rise again. The challenges I faced became the foundation for everything I've achieved. So the next time life throws a challenge your way, don't shrink back. Don't let it defeat you. Look it straight in the eye and say, I will rise above this. I will find the lesson in this, and I will emerge stronger, wiser, and better than before. When you choose to see challenges as opportunities, you begin to see the world differently. And in that shift, you unlock the true power of a positive attitude. One that doesn't just survive challenges, but thrives through them. Let me tell you something that many people overlook. Your attitude doesn't just affect you. It impacts everyone around you. I want you to really think about that for a second. The energy you carry, the mindset you embody, has a ripple effect on the people in your life. When you choose to live with positivity, that energy spreads. It's contagious. It influences your relationships, your work, and the way others perceive you. Positivity is magnetic. There's a saying that I truly believe in. You become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Now, let's take that a step further. The energy you put out into the world becomes the energy you attract back. If you walk into a room with a positive attitude, it changes the dynamics of that room. It lifts people up. It encourages them, It makes them feel better about themselves and the situation they're in. I've experienced this firsthand. Early in my career, I used to get frustrated with people around me who weren't as motivated or focused as I wanted them to be. I would get upset when things weren't going according to plan, and in turn, I'd bring that frustration into every conversation. The result? People around me began to mirror my negative energy. They became discouraged, uninspired, and sometimes even resentful. I didn't realize that my negativity was affecting the people closest to me. I thought I was just frustrated with the situation, but in reality, I was projecting that frustration onto others. That was when I realized something important. If I wanted to change my life, I needed to start by changing the energy I brought into every room, every conversation, every relationship. I had to become the source of positivity, not just in my own life, but for those around me. When I made that shift, everything around me started to change. I began to approach my relationships with a sense of gratitude, appreciation, and encouragement. Instead of focusing on what others were doing wrong, I started focusing on what they were doing right. I made it a point to compliment and encourage people. I became the person who helped others see the best in themselves rather than reinforcing their doubts and insecurities. What I quickly learned is that when you bring positivity into the lives of others, it bounces back to you tenfold. Think about the people you spend your time with. Are they uplifting and supportive? Do they bring out the best in you, or do they drain you, complain constantly, and leave you feeling defeated? Now, I'm not saying you should cut ties with everyone who brings negativity into your life, but what I am saying is that you have the power to influence the energy around you. You can be the person who lifts others up instead of pulling them down. I remember a particular instance where I was working with a team on a project. The team was struggling to meet deadlines, and there was a lot of stress and negativity in the air. I could feel the tension in the room every time we met. And honestly, I was beginning to feel discouraged too. But one day I decided to show up with a different mindset. I walked in with a smile, I greeted everyone with energy, and I made a conscious decision to stay positive, no matter what challenges we were facing. And it wasn't easy. There were still problems to solve, but my attitude began to shift the atmosphere. Instead of focusing on the problems, I started asking questions like, what can we do to make this better, and what is working that we can build on? I saw people's shoulders relax, their faces light up, and their energy change. They started offering solutions instead of complaints. We began to work together as a team rather than each person focusing on their own frustrations. By bringing positivity into that space, I turned a toxic environment into a productive one. That's the power of positive energy. It transforms the people around you, and as you lift others, you lift yourself. You have the ability to impact your environment in a profound way. When you adopt a positive mindset, you naturally attract people who share that same energy. Think about the people who inspire you, the leaders, the mentors, the friends who bring out the best in you. What do they have in common? I can almost guarantee that they bring a sense of light, hope, and possibility into your life. They make you feel like you can do more, be more, and achieve more. That's the power of positivity. But here's something you might not have realized. It's not just about attracting positivity, it's about creating it. You have the ability to make someone's day just by showing up with the right attitude. You can make someone feel heard, understood, and appreciated simply by focusing on the good in them. It's not about ignoring the bad, but rather about choosing to emphasize the good. When you begin to do that, you will see that people will start to reflect that positivity back to you. I want you to think about your role in the lives of the people around you. Are you a source of light or darkness? Are you someone who lifts people up, or do you unintentionally pull them down with your negativity? I'm not saying it's easy. Life is hard sometimes. But when you commit to showing up with positivity, your presence becomes a blessing in the lives of others. You begin to change not only your life, but the lives of everyone around you. There's no greater reward than seeing the positive impact you've had on someone else. When you choose to project positivity, you begin to create an environment where success, joy, and fulfillment are not just possible, they are inevitable. So step into that role. Become the person who brings light, hope, and optimism into every room you enter. The world needs more of that, and you have the power to provide it. Now, let me be very clear about something. A positive attitude alone isn't going to guarantee you success. It's important to understand that positivity isn't a magic trick that makes everything you want simply appear, but it is the foundation on which everything else rests. Without it, no amount of talent, skill, or hard work can reach its full potential. Your attitude shapes your actions, and your actions shape your results. Think about this. Have you ever been in a situation where you saw someone with incredible potential, maybe even more talent than you, yet they weren't moving forward? They weren't achieving the success that their abilities suggested they should be. The difference wasn't in their skill set, it wasn't in their intelligence, it was in their attitude. They lacked the mindset necessary to move past setbacks, to push through challenges, to keep going when things got tough. Without a positive attitude, it's easy to get discouraged, to let failure define you, to stop before you reach the finish line. But I want to challenge you today. Your attitude has the power to influence the choices you make in the face of adversity. Let me share an example with you. Early in my journey, I was not where I wanted to be. In fact, I was in a place where it felt like every step forward was met with 2 steps back. I was battling with doubt, fear, and a relentless voice in my head telling me I wasn't good enough. But then something inside me shifted. I realized that while I couldn't change the circumstances, I could change my perspective on them. I decided to focus on what I could control, the way I approached every setback. Instead of seeing failure as final, I began seeing it as a learning experience, as an opportunity to refine my approach, my strategy, my mindset. I realized that failure wasn't a reflection of my worth. It was a part of the process. It was a step towards becoming the person I needed to be in order to succeed. Once I made that shift, everything changed. I started showing up with a renewed sense of commitment. My attitude, now rooted in positivity, began to influence the way I worked, the way I thought, and the way I interacted with others. I began to make different choices. I started taking more risks, pushing myself outside of my comfort zone, and the results began to follow. It wasn't immediate, but with each step forward, I felt stronger, more focused, and more aligned with my goals. But here's the key. Positivity doesn't mean you ignore the challenges or pretend they don't exist. It's not about wearing a smile while everything crumbles around you. It's about acknowledging the obstacles, but choosing to focus on the solution, on the way forward. It's about understanding that there will always be tough times, but deciding that those times will not define your journey. I've watched countless people over the years who had incredible potential, but fell short because they allowed their negative experiences to consume them. They allowed failure to define who they were. They allowed setbacks to keep them from trying again. The truth is, a negative attitude will always lead to negative results. It doesn't matter how hard you work or how talented you are. If you don't have the mental and emotional resilience to face challenges with a positive mindset, you won't be able to persist long enough to see success. But when you embrace a positive attitude, something remarkable happens. You develop a deeper level of perseverance. You become unshakable in your pursuit of your goals. You no longer allow failure to derail you. Instead, failure becomes fuel. You see each misstep as a stepping stone, a part of the path to your ultimate success. This shift isn't easy. It requires self-awareness, it requires intention, and it requires discipline. But it is within your reach. You don't need to be born with an unbreakable attitude. It's something you can develop day by day, choice by choice, action by action. And as you develop it, your capacity to overcome challenges will expand. You'll be amazed at how much you can achieve when you approach every obstacle with the belief that you can overcome it. Let me be clear, the world isn't always going to treat you fairly. You'll face people who doubt you, situations that seem hopeless, and moments where giving up feels like the easiest option. But those moments don't define you. Your response to those moments does. It's how you choose to act, how you choose to keep going, how you choose to maintain a positive attitude in the face of adversity that will determine the trajectory of your life. I want you to remember this. Positivity isn't just a feeling. It's a way of living. It's about taking action, making decisions, and showing up each day with the belief that no matter what happens, you are capable, you are worthy, and you will find a way to succeed. It's about choosing to believe in yourself even when the world gives you every reason not to. It's about deciding that your dreams are worth fighting for no matter the obstacles in your way. So the next time life gets tough, the next time you feel the urge to throw in the towel, I want you to remember this one thing. Your attitude is everything. It's the one thing you can always control, and it will determine whether you rise or fall. Choose to rise. Choose to push forward even when it's hard. Choose to stay positive and keep going, because in the end, it's your attitude that will carry you through to the other side.